Good evening. This is what's there to say, and I just want to briefly speak about controversy. Well, the general topic that I'm going to speak this evening on this video is hypocrisy, or just the long the long and short of it is that you can't have it both ways. You can't expect an athlete to say their opinions about another issue outside of their expertise and not expect any opinion, political or social, that is very unpopular with you. Because recently I think Sean Strickland, the mixed martial artist, he recently came out and spoke out against Bud Light, because I think the UFC made have a partnership deal with Bud Light, and of course, as we all know, there was a controversy that Bud Light was involved in with a trans influencer. Um, can't remember what forgot the person's name, but it's a well-known trans influencer, and obviously that marketing ploy failed badly because it alienated their main audience, which was men. So Sean Strickland came out and spoke out against Bud Light for that reason, presumably. And I think a reporter that writes for a publication that represents the LGBT questioned him on that, and he responded. Sean Strickland did. He responded saying about how you've weaseled your way into I can't remember the words that he said exactly, but it was along the lines of how you've pretty much are a destruction of society, and how you've wow, I can't remember what he said, but it was very controversial. Um, yeah, X-rated. Yeah, pretty much called them a infection, and yeah, he said some other things about women's MMA as well, which is a whole nother controversy. But yeah, so yeah, pretty much. Um, the long and short of it is, he said some very unpopular popular things to a certain community, and a lot of people would agree with his message. I don't think he's going to get suspended for that, because even though he just lost his title, because I do think the demographic of the audience of the UFC are very conservative and very mostly men. With that being said, um, I just want to briefly say this: people who are very woke, or who are very on board, or who encourage or in a way enforce athletes to speak on politics or speak on social issues, they can't have it both ways, because there are going to be some people that will speak on social issues that will kind of give a take which they would find unpopular. So, the same people who will criticize other people for attacking LeBron James for speaking out on politics are the same people who would, attack Sean Strickland for speaking out on something outside of MMA, a massive social cultural issue of the trans ideology. And listen, I'm not agreeing with what he said, but it's bound to happen that some people who you encourage to speak out are going to come out with a take that is very unpopular with you. At some point, what an athlete or actor or any celebrity says on politics or anything outside of the expertise is going to get controversy because it's going to alienate some people. LeBron James does it all the time, you know. Now I'm not saying I'm not saying he should stay silent, but you know, he's gonna tick some people off. Same thing with Sean Strickland. People are gonna be upset. They're gonna be upset. If it doesn't, if he says something that doesn't align with your political point of view, like you can't have it both ways. At some point, pretty much any speech can be offensive to someone. Free speech often means it pretty much means anything that's offensive, because being offensive nowadays is very subjective. Now there are a lot of people that would say that what Sean Strickland said is offensive, and that's fine. That's their own opinion, and they're entitled to feel that way. But this is the kind of worms you open when you let people speak on things that are outside of their expertise. They're either going to say something controversial which you don't like, even though you encourage people to speak on things that they shouldn't necessarily speak about, or they have no business speaking about. They'll say something controversial or they would pretty much compromise the business line of their employer. So those are the two consequences. This is the result of opening the can of worms and letting anybody speak on a certain issue that they don't have any experience on. That's the consequence of it. Now I'm being neutral here. I'm being neutral. But you can't have it both ways. You can't encourage people to be saying something, to be speaking out on politics or other social issues, and get upset that they say an issue, or get upset that they come up with a point of view which differs from you or offends you. You can't have it both ways. It's that simple. And and that's the long and short of it. And as offensive as saying sharp and dribble or sharp and sing, sharp and act, as offensive as that can be, obviously you could say that you're shutting down free speech, but at the same time, that sharp and dribble talk, that sentiment of sharp and act and sharp and sing and sharp and dribble, yeah, at times that could be the best advice that someone can give, because the athlete may not have a clue on what they're saying. They could hurt their bottom line, or the bottom line of their employer, which could lead to other ramifications, other consequences, ramifications, or it can saying that, having that sentiment of just shut up and getting on with what you know, could just mean that they're not that political or social outside of what they love doing. Or on the third thought, on third thought, um, it could just be that people around them or the person saying it could have their best interest at heart in making sure that they don't cause further division than there already is. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. I hope I've been clear in my sentiment. You can't have it both ways. Either, if you want to open the kind of worms of letting people speak on things that they are not experienced in, be prepared for the fallout when they say something that you disagree with and you can't be offended. Period. Take care, God bless.